What does Jesus say about injustice? That's what we're talking about today. My name is Jake Veda. I'm the student pastor here at EastLake Church and all of our campuses. We're just excited that you're here today. Now, before we get to talking about justice and injustice and what Jesus has to say about it, we're actually going to be doing a lot of TikTok-themed coffee tasting things. It's going to be amazing. Nick and Yasmin are going to kill the game. You're going to watch them do a lot of interesting things with coffee that they found on TikTok. And by the way, if you want to follow us on TikTok, it's students.united. We put a lot of amazing content out there. It's totally worth following if you have TikTok. Well, I'll see you in the sermon. But until then, let's check out Yasmin and Nick.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yasmin.
And my name is Nick.
And welcome to HSM News. We are your hosts to deliver the craziest news, challenges, and tea weekly. And this week, we decided to allow TikTok to influence us once again. We are trying different coffee recommendations that TikTok recommended.
I mean, we ain't spilling the tea, but we drinking coffee.
Yeah, we ain't spilling the tea, but we're drinking coffee today.
I'm excited because your boy's tired.
Yeah, I am tired. I'm like on 4 hours of sleep.
Hey, let's go. Amen.
Yep, we are excited, and let me tell you what we have.
Yeah,
so
what we got
first,
here,
we have this lovely drink from McDonald's, and it has...
Yes?
What does it have? It has sugar-free vanilla syrup, and caramel drizzle and coffee. So when it's iced, so this is this one.
Okay.
And then this is the bougie version of this drink. So this one is a white chocolate mocha with caramel drizzle and vanilla sweet cream foam.
That drizzle, you know?
Can't go wrong with the caramel.
Uh-huh.
And then another caramel. I feel like there's a theme. Like these are all caramel drinks.
Is it caramel or caramel?
Ooh.
I don't even
Put
know.
in the comments below. I say
Or
caramel.
Caramel?
What do you say?
I don't know.
Say caramel.
Okay, well.
This is a ice cold brew with whole milk and 3 pumps of caramel swirl. So
3 pumps.
we are going to taste test them, and let's go with like lightest to strongest because I've actually never had cold brew. So this is gonna be. I'm a little scared.
Goodness. All right. I've never had a McDonald's drink like this before.
Yeah, neither have I.
But all I'm excited about is it's coffee.
All right. And I love caramel. So
okay.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually okay.
It's got like, I don't know, it almost reminds me of home or something. Yeah, I don't know.
It kind of tastes like a homemade coffee. Like this is not like a drink that you would want to like, okay, I'm gonna go spend my money on.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it tastes like
And like I just got the milk out of the fridge and threw some sugar in there and like, okay,
I'm not a fan of that.
McDonald's, sorry y'all.
Yeah, we're gonna rank these from best to worst.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end. Okay, what we got here?
This is a white chocolate mocha with sweet vanilla cream and caramel drizzle.
I'm excited about this one. Don't fail me now. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I don't know if the ice melted.
No, that was like a drink of milk with a splash of coffee right there. That's basically what it was. Okay, hold on. Wow. Yeah,
I don't know what to feel.
If you want this drink, go to the grocery store and buy a gallon of milk.
Literally.
And pour it in a cup of ice.
Wow, I feel like TikTok is really hyping up these drinks, and me and Nick are just debunking all of them for being disgusting.
We're the Mythbusters for TikTok. Okay, this is the Dunkin' Donuts one?
Yeah, this is Dunkin' Donuts one.
Okay, all right. Don't fail me. Come on, man. Okay. I don't know, man. Like, it's... Okay, listen, everybody. We have been drinking milk this whole time. This is the first time I actually
I'm tasting coffee.
I actually tasted coffee in this one. So, I don't know, Yasmin. What are you thinking? Like,
I feel like... Okay, you got to put yours in order then. So this is like best to worst.
Okay, best to worst.
Ready?
Okay, yep. So, like, going outwards is worse, right?
You think this one
is the worst? It's straight,
no, this one is straight up like 5-day-old coffee.
No, this is like someone got milk out of like, I don't even know if it's milk. This one, because it actually tastes like coffee. Look, see, we can agree on something.
We can agree on the best one. So guys, lesson learned, don't trust TikTok all the time because it could be wrong. But thank you guys so much for joining us on HSM News, and we'll see you next time. want to start by asking you a question. What comes to mind when you hear the word judgmental? I know a lot of us probably have different things running through our head right now when it comes to judging someone or someone judging us. Maybe today you were in your Zoom classroom or Google Classroom, whatever it is that you're using, and there's always that one kid that always has his webcam on and he always feels like he knows it all, always asking the questions, and you're like judging him like, dude, chill out. Literally, it's just a Zoom call. Yeah, we probably all have judged that kid in some shape or form. But maybe it's a little bit more personal when someone actually judges you. I remember in high school, I used to hang out with a group of girls who would make fun of me constantly for being Christian and would tweet really mean things about it, and they continued to do it for years, and it actually continued until I was in college, judging me for being Christian, the decisions that I made, the way that I lived. And it obviously, I'm a very confident person, but when someone is continually telling you that the way that you're doing your life is wrong, it's gonna affect you. Because no matter what it is, when someone is critical or doesn't approve of something of you or your life, it does not feel good at all. Today, we are gonna dive a little bit deeper and see what God says about that.
Have you ever noticed how judgmental you are? Okay, that was so judgmental. I just called you out, but let's be honest. You and me, we judge a lot, and judging is not a bad thing necessarily. It's good to be able to discern if something's good or bad, but oftentimes we can go a lot overboard and actually judge people based on things that we probably shouldn't be judging in the first place, and then tell somebody else about what we judged. And that's usually where rumors start and people get hurt. But if you didn't know, there's good news and bad news to all this judging. The good news is this: it's natural. The thing about, especially you as a student, as you're growing up, your brain is slowly becoming more and more judging, which means your brain is slowly starting to decide what things are good and bad, if you should run away, if you should hide, or if you should talk to somebody. Again, all for the most part good things, but the bad part is that oftentimes this judging can almost be overwhelming, and we have no idea how to handle all of this stuff that our brain does when it comes to judging.
You see, judgment is tricky because it's actually a part of God's design. Our maturing brain has got to be able to figure out what's unfair and what's right and what's wrong. So we have to exercise judgment and look out to see what's right and what's not right in the world. The problem comes when we use that ability to judge people in a negative way. When we choose to be tough and critical on others, that's when that judgmental spirit comes out of us, and that's unfair to other people. Maybe for you, judgment comes from the way you speak or act towards certain people. Maybe it's because you're talking behind someone's back and causing to lose their trust and causing other people to gang up and not like that person as well. Are we spreading rumors? Are we gossiping about others? Are we judging people by how they dress, how they act, the way they walk, the way they talk? Are we looking at them and disqualifying them as someone who could be a friend of yours or just a person that you could get along with? That's when we start to fall into judgment.
Maybe you don't even mean to hurt their feelings or cause any harm. But reality is, when you treat or speak about someone unfairly and judge them, you're the one causing injustice. Let me say that again. When you treat or speak about someone unfairly, and when you judge them, you are the one causing injustice. And here's what's tricky about that. God calls us to do something about injustice, to look out and to do something about it when we see injustice happening around us. But how can we do this and do it well if we are the ones being unfair to others? How can we act the way Jesus wants us to if we're causing injustice with our judgments of others?
One of Jesus's most pivotal moments in his whole entire ministry here on earth was a day and a specific sermon called Sermon on the Mount. This is where he did a sermon on a mountain. And as he got on top of this mountain, there were hundreds, if not thousands of people surrounding him. And a lot of the people that were surrounding him were called either the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the scribes. They were different sects of what you'd call religion. These were all religious people waiting to hear what God was going was going to say through Jesus. They were there essentially to really judge him. And they were feeling pretty good. I mean, all these people that were listening to Jesus were kind of waiting to see what he was going to say. It was kind of like that, that time when after you hear a sermon, your friend would be like, yeah, you really need to hear this one. It's like, are you kidding me? Why are you judging me when you're listening to a sermon? But that's what they were all doing, waiting to judge. But then Jesus did something that nobody expected. He essentially called out religious people. He essentially said that religion is actually not the way to live a fulfilling life. He essentially just shocked the whole entire world with his sermon called Sermon on the Mount.
So in his Sermon on the Mount, Jesus went on to talk about judgment, okay? And, judgment for us, maybe we do it, sometimes we don't. It's a little more gray. We know for sure that if we murder someone, that's definitely a sin. Or if we commit adultery and cheat on someone, that's something a little more obvious. But judgment can sometimes be a little more tricky. And that one, we really need help from God to help us see if we're actually being judgmental. Think about it. We're quick to judge other people. We're so quick to see other people's problems and judge it when we oftentimes look past the own thing going on in our own heart. God wants us to have eyes open and see that God sees everything. He sees both sides of the story, and sometimes someone could be doing something wrong, but what's going on inside our hearts? What's causing us to be judgmental that we're deciding to look past? We've been talking about injustice in this series and how much God wants to use us to make the wrongs right in this world. But here's the bottom line. If we really want to solve the injustice in this world, we got to have God solve the injustice that's going on inside of our hearts.
So, how do we do that well? Well, luckily, Jesus had something to say about that. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. So look at what Jesus is describing here. He is saying you notice a speck of sawdust in someone's eye and it's super tiny, but it's preventing you from seeing. So obviously you're gonna have someone in your life that's like, hey, I think you have something in your eye. Let me help you out there.
This was a very dramatic verse or passage that Jesus was talking about in the Sermon on the Mount. He gives a lot of dramatic statements, basically trying to help people think a different way that they've never thought before. But what he was saying is, don't worry about the small thing in somebody else's eye. If you have this huge plank, you're like knocking into things, you're like falling down. Obviously this is not even physically possible. But what he's saying is, if you are first judging somebody else, you could often be missing out on things that you could be working on yourself. Here's the bottom line of the whole entire message. If you want to have one thing that you remember from this whole entire message, it's this. Before you look for an injustice in somebody else's life, look for an injustice in your life first. And if you are able to do that, I promise you that people will trust you more. They will have the ability to actually believe in who you are, because you're not looking for faults in them first. You're trying to fix yourself first. And if they might ask, you might tell them, hey, I've noticed this about your life. But if you are doing something that Jesus says not to do, which is look for the dust in somebody else's eye, you're essentially being a hypocrite. You're looking for all of the issues in everybody else, but there's actually several issues that you haven't worked on yourself. This was a big point of emphasis in the message on the Sermon on the Mount.
Ask God to show you where you might be causing injustice in someone's life. Then ask him to help you deal with it. Maybe for some of you, that means apologizing to someone you've hurt with your judgmental words or behaviors. Or maybe you need to pray and confess some judgmental thoughts to God, asking him to give you forgiveness. And finally, we got to take a step towards change. Ask yourself, how can I change my thinking or my words or my actions so that I don't cause injustice or harm to others again? Whatever that is for you, commit to taking just one step towards changing your judgments toward other people. Because when you do, you'll be taking a step towards dealing with injustice the way Jesus has called us to.
So how do we notice the things that might be causing harm or injustice to someone else? I really think it begins with self-reflection. And I feel like for me, that is the best way to take the plank out of my own eye, is to ask myself, okay, how was I this week? So for you, you might ask yourself, how was I being mean or unfair to someone else? Did I judge someone this week in my head, a racist comment, something that was sexist, making fun of someone's religion? Maybe you said something really mean to your friend on social media and asking yourself, like, could I have been more like Jesus in this moment? Reflect on those questions, and I think you know in your head ways that maybe you have been treating people not fair and just causing straight up injustice. But it's okay, there's grace and there's room to grow.
The bottom line again is, before you look for injustice in somebody else, look for injustice inside of you. We're about to sing a song called Build My Life, and I love this song specifically for this message, because what we're trying to say is that we build our lives on justice and not injustice. We build our lives on first looking in ourselves and what God might be doing and the movement that he's doing inside of our own souls before we quickly judge other people, like the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes. We want to be more like Jesus and less like the religious leaders. And that first means looking for the injustice in our own lives. We're first trying to build our lives in the way of Jesus, and then we might help somebody else. So here's a question just for you to ponder and reflect as you're listening to the song and worshiping and looking to God. And it's this: is there an injustice inside of you that you might need to work on? Whether it be the fact that you might be bullying people, or the fact that you might be doing something late at night that you probably shouldn't be doing, spending way too much time on your screen, whether it be Night Fort, TubeU. I use the same jokes over and over again, but Fortnite, YouTube, whatever it is. What injustice inside of you that you might need to work on before you look on somebody else's injustice? So as we sing this song, Build My Life, I really hope that you'll be able to reflect on your own life.
Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Yeah. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Yeah. You're worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Yeah. Jesus, the name above every other name. Yeah. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you, Jesus. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show is who you are. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone. And I will not be shaken, and I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone. And I will not be shaken. Holy, and there is no one like you, and there is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around. Holy, and there is no one like you, and there is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone. There I will not be shaken.
I hope you enjoyed us trying to process together what does it mean to be Christians and to stand up to injustice in our own lives and even in our friends' lives. Now, if you didn't know, we have tons of videos about these questions that we ask, whether it be about injustice or a racial injustice or questions and doubts you have about God. So we're going to put videos up here that you can just check out. And I'm not even going to say goodbye because you're going to see me in just a second because you just click on one of these videos.